Boom, we are in here. What's up, everybody? The War Rapport. We're back for another week. It is one of them weeks, where the opponent is somebody who I really dislike. So I'm gonna take a lot of pleasure in picking us. I'm just gonna tell you up front, I'm picking us, even if I don't fully agree with that pick, just because I despise the person on the other side. Like, there's a lot of people in the SEC I don't like. This is in my top like two or three of people who I
Okay.
dislike in the SEC. So I'm just upfront, I'm picking us to beat LSU, whatever.
All
So
right.
anyway,
Hate.
yeah, it is what it is, man. You can't have two Tigers in the conference and we not be the dominant one. So uh anyway, make sure you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel. We are going to be on YouTube dropping all these videos off for y'all consistently. Twitter and Instagram, we are the War Rapport, so we'll be over there. And then, of course, on TikTok, we are over there at TW Rapport. So, gentlemen, how are we feeling 1 week removed from what most people consider to be a very lucky victory that was gifted to us by referee? Or if you listen to Lane Kiffin, it's an LSU fan in here off the jump. Okay.
Oh, Seahawks, Tigers. All right.
Here we
Yeah. All right.
go.
Yeah.
Here we
All
go.
right. Here we go. What are y'all feeling post Lane Kiffin being really salty about the refs and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, listen, man. It wasn't as much of a job as it was the backward spike by Bo Nix,
For sure.
right?
Much
Against
tougher
Arkansas.
call
Yeah.
for the
Right.
refs to make. And we could argue back and forth about, and this is something I applaud Gus Malzahn for. Like, he was like, okay, if we're just going to pick stuff that we feel like was a bad call, we had a touchdown that got called back on a really bogus holding call. So, like, we can give y'all that one, and you give us this one
Fair
back.
enough.
Points are going to be exactly the same, right? So, whatever. Because we did not end up scoring points on that drive, right? So, like, we'll give you another 7 and you give us another 7. The outcome is still exactly the same. Doesn't really matter. So whatever. But yeah, how are we feeling about this week going into LSU? We're gonna get into the game specifically, but just kind of how y'all feeling.
I'm ready for a new coach.
Every week.
I'm ready for a new coach, man. I'm in neutral, honestly, about any game. I'm not gonna.
Hold on. I need to get some clarity out of the way because Mike said something about this. When y'all see me rock this black hat, let me get real close. This is still an Auburn hat. Like, I'm rocking Auburn every time I'm on the broadcast.
That's not
okay.
Yeah. So this is still an Auburn hat. Don't get it confused with nothing else. We still repping the team.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
just, I'm just going with the all black everything. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, but yeah. So new coach, right?
Yeah, new coach. So
new quarterback. Can we put a new quarterback in it? Can we make that a package deal?
Bro.
If we get a new quarterback, it means
So we get a new coach, we definitely get a new quarterback.
Right.
There you go. They are connected. Like you already said, Mike, they are tied at the hip. Gus Malzahn has said, this is my boy. I'm going to rise and fall with him.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Bo fail. I want to see Gus fail. Both of them fail. I want a new coach with the same DC somehow. Like, I don't even know if that's possible, but that's what I want. So until all that happens,
okay,
I'm in neutral.
Yeah. So all right, we'll get into the game a little bit more in a minute, but let's get into the other games for this week, because if you are new to the War Rapport, we definitely talk about all of the games that are coming up in the SEC before we get into our games. So let's talk a little bit about some of these other games. Let's start.
Wait. Before y'all jump into it, I'd be remiss as a college football fan if I did not mention the Indiana Penn State game this past weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody caught that, but I would have hated to have been the replay official that had to uphold that call on the field. Indiana brass balls went for 2 in overtime, and from every replay angle, it looked like the ball hit the ground before it touched the pylon.
It did.
And then the argument was that the tip of the ball broke the plane, but we couldn't clearly see that. And because they called it a touchdown on the field, the call had to stand. My heart broke for Penn State. I have so many Penn State fans in my life. It's a really tough way to open the season as a top 10 team and then go out to unranked Indiana. They jumped all the way up, I think, to like 16 or 17 in the rankings after that upset. But that was definitely the game of the weekend.
No argument here.
I think everybody feels the same way about that. Listen, we have been the beneficiary of some very tough calls by officiating so far. It's been rough for the officials because they have been really tough calls to make. And it's one of those things where the rule basically says that unless you have irrefutable evidence, the call on the field stands because they don't want to get into a practice of overturning their referees and making it an all
Right.
type of situation. So it's tough, but hopefully Penn State will have a bounce back and they'll be able to get. They still have plenty of opportunities ahead of them, right? The season literally just started,
Right.
so they've got a
Right.
ton of opportunities to get back in it. They just need to handle business going forward. So
What is the
we'll
Big
see
Ten
what
playing?
happens.
They playing a 7-game season?
No, they're playing 10.
They're playing 10?
I have no idea. I don't.
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
attention.
They're going to be done by like third week in December. I think it's what I saw. But they're going no bye weeks, just banging straight through it.
Yeah, yeah. If they do that, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because they clearly want to feel like the SEC and actually have a tough route to get to the college football playoff. But anyway, no shade to them except all the shade in the world. Ole Miss and Vanderbilt is the first game that we're going to talk about this week. Ole Miss and Vandy. This is the toilet bowl for the week, and
Lysol Toilet Bowl, Lysol sponsored.
if there is a team who is worse than Ole Miss, it's Vanderbilt. So I am definitely going to pick Ole Miss in this one. Does anybody feel any different? Can anybody convince me why Vanderbilt should win a game this week?
Yeah, nah. I mean, Ole Miss should score 1,000,000 points in this game.
Yeah.
Right. Like I think their offense is kind of proven at this point. So like, I haven't seen anything from Vanderbilt that suggests that they'll be competitive. They would be competitive against Auburn High School, let alone another college in the conference. So like,
yeah, I think that Ole Miss might score 60. They might score 60 this game.
yeah, and they might be mad after last week, so they may take all that out on poor Vandy. Well, I mean, we pretty much have Vandy in the conference for accreditation and graduation rates, right? Like,
what happened to Derek Mason? Like putting a at least competitive defense on the field? 'Cause he was a DC at Stanford. Wasn't he a DC?
Yes, I mean he's a defensive guy, but I think the problem still is going to be recruiting for Vanderbilt. Like you can have guys that want to go out there and compete, and they can be but like everybody on the other side of the ball is faster and stronger than you. There's only so much heart is going to get you. Like there's a reason why that nobody wanted to be that dude when it was doing like the Power Rangers. I mean not Power Rangers, but the Planeteers. Like who wants to be the dude with the heart rate? Nobody. Like you want some real power.
That much better than them though? Talent-wise?
What?
So what now?
Do we think Ole Miss is that much better than them talent-wise though?
yes,
Yes, I actually do.
Absolutely.
Right.
No question. # free Derek Mason. He's in the trap.
Yeah.
Vandy is a baseball school. I agree.
He is employed.
And once upon a time, they were pretty decent in basketball, but that hasn't been the case lately, though.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and even in baseball, like they're way more competitive in baseball. But like, when is the last time Vandy won an SEC championship in baseball?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's a lot of smart people at Vanderbilt. They just don't happen to be athletes too. So whatever. All right, cool. We're gonna move along to another game that probably is gonna be very easy for everyone to pick. But I'll give opportunity for someone to call the upset here. Mississippi State is traveling to Tuscaloosa to face Alabama, and they're very high-powered offense. Jalen Waddle. So, due respect to Jalen Waddle. Many times Mike has called him the most exciting college football player that is gracing the field this season. So definitely hate to see him go down with a season-ending injury like that. But is anybody going to pick Mississippi State to wake up this week and figure out offense again? Bama's defense has been suspect. I mean, they were really looking shaky in the first half of pretty much every game this season. They've looked shaky in the first half, and they wake up in the second half towards the end of the third quarter or whatever. Anybody picking the upset here?
I'm going to shock a lot of people with my pick here, right? Like, I watched some tape on Mississippi State, and I'm going to say Bama by less than 60.
Okay. All right.
You weren't gonna do that. You weren't gonna do that.
Bama by, maybe like 50-ish in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the problem for me still is Mississippi State, for whatever reason, this phantom first week of explosion of offense has completely disappeared.
Yeah, like Costello got benched, didn't he?
Yeah.
He threw for 600 yards in his first game and then got benched.
He's been trash ever since.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so wait a minute. What if LSU was just terrible with
no, defensively LSU is very trash this year.
Yeah,
That's a factual thing.
Yeah.
But like I just don't know how like they've not given up 600 yards since then. They've given up a ton of points, ton of yards, but it hasn't been like literally like record-breaking offense. They haven't given up every week. So it's interesting. I don't know. But is anybody picking Mississippi State in this game?
No, man. They go wild. And you know what? In the absence of Waddle, I'm actually a little excited to see.
I think he's going to spread the ball around. Like he's got so many other.
Oh my goodness! I can't wait to see who the fifth guy is that's going to step up into the fourth spot and all of a sudden be a draft pick in this offense.
Yeah, that's what Brian is saying.
They
need him to dominate.
Yeah, they don't agree, Brian.
Yeah, the question is just how many points is that defense going to give up? Like, is it going to be where they have to win a shootout, or are they going to like obliterate the other team? Like, that's really the only question.
To Brian's point, Mac Jones is the best quarterback in the conference right now. Right now,
I don't even think that's debatable. There's nobody in the conference. Like the only other player in the conference that's playing really well is going to be Trask down at Florida, right?
Right.
You have moments from some other guys, but like consistently every week, you can expect that they may hang 30 to 40 points on you. It's going to be Florida's really the only other team. Like Ole Miss is going to put up a ton of points, but you're not putting Matt Corral or what's the other kid's name at Florida? Yeah, Rice Plumlee, John Rice Plumlee. You're not putting either of them in a conversation as one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Right.
So it's really Mac Jones and then everybody else. Trask may be in a distant second. So, all right, cool. So we'll move on from that game. Are there any competitive games this week? Because we have Arkansas playing Texas A&M. This one probably is the most. Actually, let's come back to that one because that might be a little bit more interesting to talk about. Let's just get through the BS here. So we've got Florida versus Missouri. Could be an interesting game. Missouri's offense is sporadic. Every now and then they'll pop in and they'll give you something to talk about. They beat LSU a couple of weeks ago. What are we thinking about this game, Missouri and Florida?
Trask, right? He's nearing 1,000 yards on the season. As much as I said that they were overrated to start the season, he's got 14 TDs to 1 interception. I mean, if he continues that pace, I don't think that Missouri has a chance in this one. Florida big.
Anybody want to pick Mizzou in an upset here?
Florida's not going to win big here. I think it'll be a competitive game. Florida actually gives up almost 500 yards a game on defense, and to me, that's enough for Missouri to make it interesting.
Specifically, they are bad against the run. Right, Texas A&M was able to beat them because they were able to run the ball effectively, and that
you can throw on them too.
Yeah, but I think it's because they're so bad against the run, right? Like I think they are so susceptible to the run game that they have to try to stack the box, which means you're having to leave these DBs on an island. And they've got some injuries back there. I don't know what the injury report is right now on the secondary, but they've been thin in the secondary because of injuries, and it's been a tougher thing for them to be able to stop opponents. Roundtree looks pretty good for Missouri at running the ball. He had a good game last week. He runs hard. He runs through contact. So we'll see. I'm still not picking him to win the game.
I'm not. I just think it's going to be much more competitive. It's going to be competitive.
Does anybody think that the layoff of Florida will be a negative for them?
I actually think it's going to help them get a little bit more healthy. Maybe it'll allow them to reset. What the question is, like, were they allowed? Was it like completely non-contact? Like they couldn't be in the facility? Like what did they have to do?
Well, the facility was shut down for a week. I don't know how long exactly or how many days in that week it was, but I know that they could not practice. Now that doesn't mean they didn't do something, but without organized activities, they've skipped 2 game weeks without playing.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, do you just go real hard in practice and essentially do a scrimmage to keep your guys like active?
No, you don't scrimmage. You don't scrimmage during the week for risk of injuries. Right. Like, so what they'll do is they'll be on kind of an adjusted practice schedule. But the idea is to maintain as normal a practice week as possible. And then use the extra time to either treat and get healthy and then spend time in the film room. So to answer your question, no, like no scrimmaging during the season.
All right, so they hadn't got no live reps, and at this point, when they play, it would be 21 days.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
At the very least, I think that gives Missouri an edge for the first quarter, maybe the first half. And I don't know. I'm with Jay. I think it could be competitive. When your defense is giving up that many points, it definitely could be competitive. I still say Florida though. I'm not picking the upset, but I say for the closer game than we think.
yeah.
Cool.
Their running back Roundtree, he's all right. He's kind of middle of the tier in terms of rushing in the SEC. He's like sixth in rushing.
Yeah. I just like the way he runs. Like he runs with a lot of aggression. And if he's one of those guys that as the game goes on, he gets stronger, right? Like so, if it's a close game and they can lean on him at running back, then they've got a good chance of being ball control, like just keeping the ball away from Kyle Trask in that offense. So we'll see. But again, still not picking Missouri. Moving on to another game that I don't know that anybody's picking a wild upset here. We've got Georgia playing against Kentucky. So what are we feeling about this one?
Kentucky usually gets up for this game.
They do.
And I think just off pure adrenaline and emotion, they'll make it interesting for a quarter or two. But I think Georgia's talent takes this game over as the game goes on.
Yeah, I think they'll get up, step up to get beat down, like Martin said. So, yeah, this game ain't gonna last. It's not gonna be competitive too long. When they actually had a decent team last year, it was competitive for like a quarter and a half. So if they can't keep up with that team with the talent they had last year, they damn sure ain't keeping up this year.
Right.
Yeah, I just think Kentucky's defense is too good. I mean, Georgia's defense is too good. Kentucky has struggled to put together drives consistently this year, and though they have a ton of experience, they're supposed to be this run dominant team. They struggled to run last week.
Yeah.
I don't see them doing that against this Georgia defense. Like this Georgia defense is way too good.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that might keep Kentucky in the game even a little is Bennett has been kind of mid this year so far,
Yeah,
right?
Except against us, which whatever.
Yeah, of course.
Showing for real. I mean,
Gatewood is starting for Kentucky. Is that real?
Can we talk about this?
That may change some things, guys.
I don't know, but so here's the thing.
I mean, not the outcome, but
I felt so bad for Gatewood last week. I said this in the chat. Like literally, he comes in the game, right, and he gets his opportunity to go out here and try to put up some late points for them. The very first play, he completes a slant to the receiver. The receiver turns to go upfield, and he fumbled.
Yeah,
and that drive was over in like 13 seconds. Like he probably got so juiced up. He's like, yes. A year and a half of me not seeing the football field. I'm about to get my chance. He get out there. He completes the first pass. He's probably feeling really good about himself. Guy fumbles. I was like, oh my God.
All right, so real quick, before we get too, I don't want to get too far off. Do any of us think that Gatewood is significantly better than Bo Nix, or that he would have been better in this system than Bo Nix? Which one do we are we leaning more towards?
Number two. I think
number two. He would have been better in this system.
Right.
Well, so let me give a caveat to that. He would have been better in the system that we ran last week, which would have been like a heavy RPO system. Like I don't know that he would run the pro style offense that they want to run better than Bo Nix, but he would have been better as an RP because he's more athletic. Like he's more of a run threat. They can call different kinds of design runs for him. So it just allows different ways for the coordinator, for a Chad Morris type of really creative coordinator mixed with a Gus Malzahn, very good with his run scheme type of thought processes to integrate him into that offense. So with it, just imagine Gatewood handing off to Tank Bigsby for like 10 seconds, right? And how unstoppable a run threat that is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the whole thing was a mistake. I want to see Gatewood do really well. I'm pulling for him. So knowing that they are starting him, that's a 12 o'clock game on Saturday. I'll definitely be watching just for that reason, to pull for Joey. He didn't get a fair shot at Auburn. He definitely would have been better in this system. what we, like I said, what we tried to do last week, them Bo. He can't. I just don't see how he could throw the ball
Worse.
out, like as even more inconsistently than Bo is throwing it right now.
Right.
Bo makes some really good throws.
I think
week.
Malik Willis would have been better in this system.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, man.
I was just thinking that.
I hope that Gatewood throws for 500 yards, and that his success is a complete and utter referendum on Gus's inability to be able to develop a freshman QB.
If Joey Gatewood throws for 500 yards against Georgia, I might not come back to this show anymore. I might be done with the War Report.
I'm starting a GoFundMe.
That's already been done. You just got to jump on the one that's there.
Man, that would be so ridiculously disappointing. Like, I don't know what I would do with myself if Joey Gatewood throws for 500 against Georgia.
Yeah,
considering how abysmal we looked against Georgia.
Seeing Justin Fields up there stunting in the
playoffs. I follow a guy that is a Georgia blogger, and he went. You guys saw the video I sent you?
Yeah.
Like he went absolutely crazy. He was like, good thing we don't have Justin Fields, a once in a lifetime generational athlete at our quarterback. Wow. Thanks, Kirby, for saving us from that.
In fairness, right? Like, they let go 2 quarterbacks technically in Jacob Eason and Fields.
Eason was mid though. Eason was all right. He wasn't
right. Well, he went to Washington, but he had them in the conversation, and
he's better than what they got now.
Right. And I would take Eason over this, right? Like, I don't think he had that much eligibility left, right?
No, he would have been done.
He had a year left.
He's in the league already.
Right. But the guy that they kept was, they had probably one of the best quarterback situations I've ever seen in college football between Eason and Fields. Right, and everybody had to move on to start. But
even the kid who they were going to start didn't. It wasn't because they're not starting Bennett or whoever the other kid was that started the season because they wanted to.
Yeah,
the guy who they wanted to start opted out of the season because of COVID stuff. He was just like, I'm not playing. So they had a plan for a better, more athletic quarterback to be back there.
Right.
So it's not really like Kirby was just like, all right, Justin Fields, we don't need you. He just saw the handwriting on the wall. He was like, all right, you got this new kid coming in. He's going to be the starter. Let me go somewhere and get my opportunity to start. I think Justin Fields made the right decision, and it's paying off for him. He is in the national title conversation for a second year in a row, in the Heisman conversation for a second year in a row. I don't know that he would have seen that at Georgia the way that the trajectory was going. So I'm not mad at him at all.
And Fromm had the hot hand, as a QB at the time. So it's like he gave Kirby no reason to really bench him.
Yeah,
right, for sure.
So, it is what it is. Anyway, Georgia's going to win. Moving on.
Basically.
Next game we've got here, I'm going to circle back then to Arkansas and Texas A&M.
Yes.
All right. Arkansas, Texas A&M. Well, I will actually let B. Will be adamant. What do you call him? The used card salesman?
Yeah, I've been waiting all week for this, Brian. Let's go.
What you looking for? 96? I got 97s. 97's out here. That's no problem. Jimbo Fisher is fortunate that he started his season when every team, the first game of the season for everybody is kind of a wash. Nobody got real camp. Nobody got spring. So, okay, I'll give that 17-12 win over Vanderbilt a pass. Let's give him a pass for that. They beat Florida. So far, they are living off of having beaten Florida. Florida is a mediocre defense.
Okay.
We will see what Florida ends up being. If Florida's 6-4 by the end of the season, is that win very significant? I'm not sold that Florida is that good. I'm definitely not sold that A&M is that good. And I can't tell you they haven't looked better than I thought. They look better than I thought they were going to look.
Okay, there you go.
But I am going to stand by my truth. Jimbo Fisher is a fraud. And they will lose games that y'all think they're supposed to win, and they will lose another game. We will beat Texas A&M, and we have no business doing it. That's how much of a fraud Jimbo Fisher is.
Oh yeah,
we will beat Texas A&M.
So we don't even need it. We don't even cover your pick for later in the season. Just mark that down.
Just mark that.
Yeah,
it's calling right now that we're going to beat Texas A&M.
So as far as what that has to do with this game. Arkansas, I think they've surprised all of us, really.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
They
No,
should have
Arkansas
won
is a
our
very
game.
competitive team.
Agreed.
Yeah, they deserve to win our game. So they should be. What are they right now? Are they 2-3 right now?
They're 2-2.
2-2.
2-2. Okay.
They're 2-2.
They should be 3-1.
3-2, 3-1. Yeah.
I don't want to underestimate them anymore. They have semi-fixed Felipe Franks, which I didn't think was possible. So it is completely within the realm of possibility. If I was betting this weekend on the games, I'm not because I'm broke. But if I was, Arkansas is a 12-point underdog. I would definitely take those.
Take the money line.
Take the money line.
Take
Okay.
those 12 points.
So you think that the game's going to be closer than 12?
I think they can win it, but to me, this is a coin flip game. Who's at home? I don't.
Texas A&M is at home.
I think A&M will win because they're at home. I have no doubt that Arkansas will be competitive throughout the entire game, and I give them a chance to win it. I can't pick them because I still haven't seen enough on a consistent basis because every other team they play is garbage. It's like we've got a lot of good games, then you're playing somebody terrible. It's a lot of that with the schedule this year. So we're still figuring out who teams are. I don't know how good any team is that they have beaten or been beaten by. So all I can say is they are competitive. They seemed a lot more disciplined. They seem to be playing harder than they played under Chad Morris. I give them every opportunity to win this game. Jimbo has significantly more talent, but he is also a fraud, so he has a chance to lose it.
Okay.
But I would pick A&M very reluctantly. I'm picking A&M.
Okay. So you're picking A&M.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So nothing controversial really happened there. You hate Jimbo Fisher, but Texas A&M's going to win.
Arkansas, I'm not saying they're going to beat A&M. They didn't beat Bama. You know what I'm saying? They're only going to play, 2, maybe 3 good teams. I haven't looked at A&M's schedule. So I'm saying they won't beat the teams that they're not supposed to beat. They
Okay.
won't. But Jimbo Fisher is there to do that. That's why he's there, and that's why he's a fraud, because he'll never be that good as they're paying him to make the team be. He'll never be that good. That's why he's a fraud. So as far as all this excitement this year, it's misplaced because they're going to beat mediocre and bad teams because they might be the best mediocre team, but that's all they are. So Arkansas is also mediocre. This is a toss-up. I will give a slight edge to A&M because they're at home.
All right.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it's gonna be a tougher matchup than people think it's going to be, but ultimately I think Texas A&M gets the victory here.
Yeah, they're pretty evenly matched statistically speaking, right? Like, so I mean, Felipe Franks and Kellen Mond actually have almost identical stats on the season.
Both of them better than Bo Nix.
Right, yeah. Felipe's got 8 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Kellen Mond has 9 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. You know, they one is 82 for 128 on the season, and the other is 80 for 130 on the season. So, like,
oh wow.
I mean, I just think for Texas A&M, their season just goes as Kellen Mond goes. If he can just not lose the game for them, they have an edge in rushing. I mean, you know, Arkansas doesn't really have a run game, right? You know, and especially not compared to what Texas A&M has produced on the ground this year, which is why I think, you know, if we're talking ball control, I could see why 12 points might hold in terms of their edge. But I just think that Texas A&M is actually better than people are giving them credit for. It just sucks because it all hinges on a Jekyll and Hyde kind of Kellen Mond, right? Which one's going to show up? You know, he had a great game against Florida. I picked him to win that game. He showed up and they won, right? And as a matter of fact, I picked them to win by a field goal at the last minute, and that's exactly what they did.
We know, Mike.
So he finally got an opportunity to say it on a live
We
broadcast
know.
because he missed the other ones.
Picked it, nailed it. So
man, congratulations.
That being said, you know, I do agree with Brian on Jimbo Fisher, not to the extent that Brian's saying it, but like I like Texas A&M this year. I'm not as confident as Brian about us beating them at the end of the year, but you know, we'll see. I'll take the fraud over Gus. I don't want either one of them. I'd rather stick with Gus. At least I know what I'm gonna get.
You know what you'll get with Jimbo, let you tell it.
Nah, what we're gonna get with Jimbo is better talent and the same results. Didn't we beat them in 2018 when we were bad? We killed them last year.
Yeah, we've seemed to have their number. We've definitely seen
they get better recruiting and supposedly have a better coach and a just as mediocre quarterback. So what is the advantage of Jimbo over Gus?
Well, I'll say this. Back to the game and my take. I pretty much all you guys. I agree with your points. The thing that has impressed me about A&M is that they can run the ball, which means they don't have to solely depend on Kellen Mond the way Arkansas has to depend on their quarterback. And so, for that reason alone, I like A&M because they can run and throw the ball if needed.
Right.
Yeah, I like the effort Arkansas's defense puts up, which is why I think this game remains close. Is their defense is going to play hard, and they're going to make them earn it consistently. Arkansas has been decent against the run. They have been great. Like, of course, they have not been lights out, but they've been decent against the run. So I think that may allow them to get more opportunities where Kellen Mond has to be the guy, and so we'll see if he can be that guy this week. Still picking Texas A&M to win a close one though. All right, to the game that we all came here to talk about, and that is LSU coming down to the Plains to face our Auburn Tigers. I already told you at the top of the picking, so there's no doubt in my mind about where my pick is going. It's a completely homer pick, but if I have to give you some justifications as to why, I'll say this. LSU's defense is the epitome of trash this season. They have not been able to stop the run specifically all year long. They have been completely incapable of stopping the run consistently in any game at all this season. That is easily the strength of our offense. And we are figuring that out week over week, that we have 3 very capable running backs, 2 of which are healthy, right? Like DJ Williams is still probably not 100%, but he's getting closer to that. Mark Anthony Richards is supposed to be getting closer to being able to see some games. I've said that literally 3 weeks in a row on here, and he has not touched the field.
He's going to be close all year.
Yeah, but we'll see if he actually plays. But at any rate, we have Tank Bigsby and Sean Shivers. The thing that is also very apparent about LSU's defense that has been an issue is their inability to contain people from getting around the edges, which puts us in a great position for a lot of those speed sweeps that we like to run and a lot of those quick hitters to the outside that they like to throw to Anthony Schwartz. If they're not able to contain the edges and we can get around the edge, they're going to get abused consistently, and we're going to put together 4 and 5 minute drives like we did last week, and I think that's the way that we win. That on top of a freshman quarterback starting his first game on the road, give me Auburn in this one.
So we know Brennan's not playing.
Brennan is not going to start at least, but the freshman quarterback will be. I don't know if Brennan's healthy enough to play, but the freshman is slated to start.
Okay.
Anybody want to go the other direction?
No, I think it makes sense to pick us because we run well. Of course, we just lost who may be the most important offensive lineman.
Yeah, it's another guy we got to make sure that we give a moment to say Brandon Council had been playing really well. They say Troxel can step in, plus the freshman. His name is escaping me right now. They said he's got a good.
Troxel has also had his fair share of injuries over the course of his career.
Yeah, which is why he wasn't the starter. He had been hurt. He finally got back healthy. So, I think we will be okay. So here's the thing: LSU's pass rush has been good this year. They've had a good pass rush, which, God help us, that means that Bo Nix may be under duress when he drops back to pass. So again,
say it right. Bo Nix will be rolling to his right.
Yeah.
If they generate a pass rush.
Right.
He rolls to his right if there's no pass rush. If there's a pass rush.
He off the bus rolling.
Have y'all been watching Auburn this year?
He just comes off the bus and makes right turns.
Yeah, just right. Okay, fair enough.
He comes down the Tiger Walk and just makes right turns in.
Oh, the locker room's this way.
Yeah.
Walk around the stadium.
Oh God, that's so horrible, but so true. Okay, but yeah, so like that's definitely a problem. So we've got the matchups on the outside that we're going to have to worry about. They've got Stingley, possibly the best defensive back in the which is that's a conversation about who's the best DB in this conference right now when you've got some really good DBs out here, but Stingley is the most highly touted one. If they do what South Carolina did, which is we're going to line up our best guy against your favorite target and completely try to take Seth out of this game, is Bo Nix going to be able to find someone else who he can distribute the football to when he is in trouble and he gets outside of the pocket? That's going to be a question yet to be seen. So if the game plan holds true, it's going to be quick passes. Hopefully those quick passes are set to go to someone not named Seth Williams, so that we don't tempt Stingley too often. And we have a heavy dose of the run game with Shivers and Tank Bixby. And that, again, that's the recipe for winning for me is heavy run, quick passes, outflank them as much as possible and keep the ball out of their offense's hand, who their offense can be super explosive. What's the kid's name? Terrence. Gosh, why am I not thinking of anybody's name right now? But he's the wide receiver for LSU, has been playing phenomenal this year. Terrence Marshall, thank you.
Yeah.
Terrence Marshall Jr. has been an absolutely phenomenal wide receiver for them this year. So I do expect them to be able to move the ball because our defense hasn't been particularly impressive throughout for 4 quarters. Like they'll show up in spurts. But I do think our linebackers are starting to play a little bit better. Hopefully, we'll have some solid DB play on the outside to make sure that they're not able to just shred us through the air. And maybe at some point in time we find a pass rush. Who knows?
Well,
but yeah,
we're really running like a 5-2-4 on defense, man. Since Britt is out, I mean, especially last week, we was trying to keep Ole Miss from going crazy on us. So there's going to be some rush yards there for LSU to get. Like there's going to be some yards for them to get, but it's going to take them a long time to score touchdowns, which is what we want. Hopefully, it takes us a long time to score touchdowns, but our drives are predominantly ending in touchdowns. Like we got the recipe. If they're weak against the run, we know that's our strength. Once Ole Miss loaded the box, we could still move the ball on the ground. That is exactly the position we want to be in. I don't think LSU is just going to stop the run magically in from one game, not based on how they look this season. So yeah, we can win this game, but we got Bo Nix, man. We got Bo Nix. He's an accident waiting to happen. We just don't know when the accident's going to happen. So if we get a game from him like we got last week, where they protect him with the run, and when it's finally time for him to start slinging it, he's looking more accurate. He's hitting guys in stride instead of making them readjust to catch the ball on the quick passes. Then listen, man, we can win by 10 points. We just don't know. I don't know. When do we call it? Do we call it like second quarter and see how those passes are coming off his hands? And maybe we know then we ain't going to win. He looks terrible. If he looks terrible by the middle of the second quarter, he hadn't settled in, that's the game, man. We're going to lose because he's going to do something to mess us up.
Listen, winning and losing is definitely in the hands of the guy who's going to be slinging it for us. Like there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If he is mistake free, we win. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep, straight up.
He's what now?
Mistake free.
I got LSU.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say I
got LSU then.
I was waiting for somebody to talk about how horrible we've been against LSU, no matter what.
Oh yeah, I definitely wanted to say that LSU owned us.
Yeah, listen, man, we've won 2 games against LSU since 2010, right? So they have beaten us 8 out of the last 10 years. It's been a really lopsided series, and prior to that, this was one of those hard knocks type games where you knew everybody was going to get injured because of how hard hitting it was, and the games were close. And they produced some really memorable moments, in Auburn football history over the last few years. We had the one year, I think it was 2007, where our kicker missed 5 field goals, and then we lost in overtime, and Les Miles had this quarterback throw a bomb.
That was 2005. Kenny Irons ran for
200 yards. Yeah.
He
called it before the game, too.
Before the game, he was going into the stadium. They had our team was walking in. They had the camera. He was like, I'm going to put up 200 on ESPN. Mm-hmm. And he put up 200 yards rushing at LSU. And kicks.
Oh man, it was brutal, right? And they have had a long history of pulling out amazing stuff. Likewise, we have had some luck. The famous 1 second that was put back on the clock. We seem to do well with the second in a lot of situations. Well, time ran out on them actually, and the officials ruled, hey, you guys didn't have enough time to get a snap off, and the game was over. But he actually threw the game-winning touchdown. Right. So. That was one of our few wins in the last decade against them. So that being said, I just
wasn't that the last win that we had against them?
Yeah, I believe that was the last win we had against them. So
yeah,
the one that
just
got Les Miles fired.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
should have been Gus, man.
yeah.
Should've been
And
Gus.
so I don't trust our offense to not make what Ike says is their terrible defense look like the '85 Bears, unless we continue to, unless again, if we can lean on Tank and get something going on the ground, and they can show that they can learn something from the previous week, because this is a 3-2 Auburn team that is really close to being 1-4 on a few officiating calls.
Right.
So, to say that we're even an average football team right now in terms of results is generous to me. Our ranking is our record is not indicative of how poorly we've played due to inconsistencies. So, I think that we can win this game. But I think that Tank is going to be the reason that we win it, because if we can't run the ball and Bo has to throw a bunch of times, you're going to see again. I hear you, Ike, on how bad LSU's defense has been this year. We seem to play down to the competition a lot, though, and it's a pattern that's pretty disturbing for me with Auburn, that it's just impossible to ignore at this point. So hopefully they have a great day. Is the game at home? Are we at home this week?
It's at home.
Yeah, we're at
home. Okay,
Yep.
So at least we got that, so we don't have to worry about road Bo showing up. Hopefully, right? Although he played his best game on the road last week, but I don't have a lot of confidence in this. I said it a couple weeks ago. I think that there's not a team left on our schedule that we cannot lose to, right? And Tank is the one bright spot in all this, guys. Like, he's third in the conference in rushing as a true freshman right now. And with a few big games, he's got a legit shot. He's within 120 yards of the top spot. Like, he could end the season with the SEC rushing title.
Yeah.
So he's legit, man. He's the real deal. We just need to not run him into the ground.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I said I think they're going to have to. Again, for me, the weakness of LSU's defense has been their ability to set the edge, which means Sean Shivers is going to play a big role in just being able to, with quickness to the outside. And, the thing I need for us to do better is we have to seal those edges as wide receiver blocks. Like,
yes, we do.
Our wide receivers have
shaky.
If our wide receivers block a little bit better, I don't know how the offense, with the way that we've been running the ball, is able to be stopped. Somebody mentioned the Council injury being big. We talked about that here a second ago. That's going to be a huge thing to see how well the replacement for him comes in and plays, and how much that disrupts the continuity of what we've been doing on the offensive line. But if we don't miss much of a beat there and LSU continues to be really bad, we can play ball control. We can, because our running backs are that good this year. I honestly believe that had we come out game one and decided we were going to be a run-first team, we probably would have won every game season. Maybe not Georgia.
Nah, Georgia.
I was going to say.
Yeah, maybe not Georgia, but like the rest of the games, I think we would have. I mean, we would have won, in my opinion, the South Carolina game had we decided we're just going to run the ball down you guys' throat for 4 quarters straight.
Yeah.
But because we decided we were going to be stubborn and throw into the teeth of their defense, more specifically at their best defensive player in the defensive backfield.
That's not even why. That's not why. Because Bo Nix is just terrible. You know what? I saw so many people on social media hyping up. J.C. Horn had a good game. He was where he was supposed to be as far as coverage goes. But Bo Nix was not making good throws. His throws were bad. Like he was asking to be picked. This wasn't. I didn't see a DB making remarkable plays. I saw a quarterback.
I'm not talking about remarkable plays. Did Bo Nix almost throw 3 picks last week?
I don't know.
He definitely almost threw 3 interceptions.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember 2 close ones.
It almost threw 3. Like, he threw into double coverage that deep ball to Seth. He threw another one that was up the sideline that was to Seth as well. He put it like on a line drive, and the safety almost came over and picked that off. And he threw another one into double coverage to like all of them, forcing it to Seth Williams. The difference is Horn was where he was supposed to be and made him pay for it. Didn't happen last week. Had the DB been where he was supposed to be and made him pay, that's 3 interceptions.
Like the DB could be this week?
That's my whole point.
Right.
Are we going to try to force feed Seth the ball against Stingley? If we're going to do that, we got no prayer. Stingley, he's going to be where he's supposed to be, and he's going to pick it off.
So the reason why, again, I really, it ticks me off that there have been so many games in the Malzahn era.
There was the tip pass. I didn't even talk about that one. The one that got tipped and almost got picked was a fourth one. He should have thrown 4 picks last week.
The thing that ticks me off is that there have been a lot of games in the Malzahn era that we've been up on LSU and just inexplicably lost. The most notable one, I think, was
2017.
Was it 17? We was on the road.
Carry on and Stidham.
Yeah, and we were lighting them up, and then we just called off the dogs.
First year that Burrow was the quarterback, wasn't it? No, that was
no, it was Johnson. It was
it don't matter.
Yeah, we lost 27-23. Right.
Yeah. No, the game with Burrow though, that one pissed me off.
Danny Etling.
Yeah, Etling. Yeah.
We was up like 24-6. And then they just slowly but surely got back into it.
Yeah, they walked us down that game because we called off we decided we would rather play ball control than continue to score for whatever.
Right. And I think the thing here is that for all the reasons you mentioned with the run game, LSU's deficiencies on defense to stop the run, it sets up for us to have success early against them. But the key is that LSU still has athletes and LSU can still make adjustments. Right. Here's a stat for you. We have been outscored so far this season in the third quarter, 35-20. We have been outscored. So in other words, when the other team adjusts to what they're seeing us do, it usually takes Malzahn a whole quarter to figure out that I need to do something different. Will that make a difference? And if they force us to where we have to depend on Bo Nix to make a play, particularly on 3rd and long, that is not set up well for us.
Or how about we see some actual coaching and we come out in the third quarter with something different than we were doing in the first and second, right?
That's all I'm wanting to see.
Right. Like, I mean, it's I hear everything you guys are saying about LSU's defense. I just don't trust our offense to play down to the competition here and then make these guys look like they're all world. Because to Caesar's point, again, you're talking, they had to replace a lot, but these guys still are top 10 recruiting every year. So the athletes are there and they're putting guys in the league every year. I mean, they definitely have a system that's producing NFL type talent. So I don't trust that they're not going to, we seem to be the game where they figure it out.
Yes, that's so annoying. Bro.
Absolutely.
Like every year,
absolutely, Mike.
They lost to freaking Troy earlier in the season and they came out and beat us later that same season. Yeah. It's like they figure out like some kind of way. It's like the Auburn game is the one where the light switch comes on. Man, they beat us to sleep that year with what's your boy's name? The running back that's in Tampa now.
Fournette.
Golly.
Oh yeah, that was embarrassing. That was Westchamp's first year.
Who did he run over on the sideline? He had that
Matthews.
Oh man, Matthews tried to jump on his back or something. Oh my god, it was so embarrassing watching that game, dog.
Dude, it looked like Now that was Tecmo Bowl,
right? Definitely.
God, we got
Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl, yeah, for sure.
That was awful.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't know, guys. I just think I think our lackluster coaching catches up to us in this game, and it cost us.
Yeah, I'm picking Auburn because I picked against us last week, and I feel bad doing that 2 weeks in a row. And I'll tell you,
that's why you had to pick them last week. When I picked them, you was right. Then you can go LSU this week. Then you can be 3 in a row like me.
Right. Right. Or that. Right. But I just think that And I don't feel bad about my pick last week based on the outcome of the game, by the way. Right? Like, hey, easy.
Nah.
Don't worry about that.
I mean, listen, it was
at one point. I mean, depending on an officiating call, you could have been right. So yeah, I get that.
So us winning this game is contingent on us seeing some actual improvement. But it's going to be highly dependent on production from Tank. Yeah. That's where we're at in our season. We will go as long as Tank stays healthy and they can find creative ways to get him the ball in space. I still want to see him catch some balls out of the backfield. I want to see him, running behind blockers.
The freaking tight end. Like, why do we have this monstrous tight end that we do not put the ball in his hands in any other way except for a freaking random wildcat that made its appearance in 2 games.
Hell now.
He's erasing people on blocks.
That's how we use tight ends traditionally.
He's canceling folks on those blocks, so for sure.
Yeah, I like seeing him play.
Yeah, but I want to see him run over somebody in the open field as well, because that's part of why we brought him in here. Is he's supposed to be this great athlete that you can put him in open space, which he's shown that. Like, he impressed the hell out of me when he hit that spin move on the dude. In the whole what game was that where he was playing Wildcat?
Was South Carolina, or was that the game before? I think it was Arkansas.
It might have been Arkansas.
Yeah.
But man, I was like, dude, this dude is nimble,
in the one leg hop. Like, well, you a big boy, be careful now, man.
Right.
But I want to see us and that I think that's the thing that frustrates me the absolute most about the Gus Malzahn tenure is, like, we've got athletes and we have special playmakers that we have not found ways to get them the ball consistently and put them in opportunities to just show people, look, this is why we brought you to this school, and this is the reason why people need to put you on their NFL squad.
Right.
We waste so much talent just by not really understanding how to put them in optimal positions. And it really starts with the fact that we don't have a quarterback that can be in the position to do that for them. Even if we wanted to throw them the ball, the guy who's throwing them the ball has just not been great enough. And
if they hit their season averages, we lose this game, right? Or if they hit their offensive season averages, there's no way that we stay in this game.
But if they hit their defensive season averages, we can win this game, which is the number of yards and points they give up. So, I mean, it's a toss-up either way.
Yeah, no, I don't really think that's a toss-up because we haven't really proven that we can take advantage of that. Right, I mean, we're averaging 24 points a game.
We played a bad Ole Miss defense last week, and we ran the ball. We played for ball control. We weren't trying to blow them out.
I'm just saying, 24 points a game. 24 points isn't going to win this game, right? Like,
I'll disagree, depending upon what the
quarterback does.
No, not quarterback. What the time of possession is. Okay. If it's 24 points and we dominate time of possession, that means we've controlled.
If we dominate time of possession, it's we in the ball game for sure.
Yeah, right.
And that's what I'm hoping for. Because so let's look back at the Ole Miss game, right? Because for as many points as we gave up against Ole Miss, they had the short field because of that freaking punt situation, which that was like gifting them points, right? And then I think they scored another time off of a short field for something stupid, but we really didn't, like, our defense, though they weren't stellar that entire game, they were good enough. So we could have put up more points against Ole Miss. We left points out there on the field. Again, we talked about the freaking kickoff that got called back.
Right.
I do believe that, again, they figured out what the identity of this team needs to be is running the ball. And even Bo Nix involved in the run game as something in the RPO system where it's like, all right, great. Bo just needs to
10 rushes for 52 yards. Not bad, right?
If we can reproduce, that's all we really need from him. Just keep him honest so that every now and then when they're like, oh, man, it's definitely Tank, it's definitely Shivers, it's definitely whoever else they have in the backfield, he keeps it and he goes and gets 10 to 12 yards, right? I don't need you to be freaking
Nick Marshall.
I don't need you to be Nick Marshall. I don't need you to be Cam. I just need you to be sneaky good at getting yardage when it's necessary and understand those opportunities and take them when they're there. And again, I think if our offensive line is blocking as good as it was last week against a team that has all season, this isn't like an aberration. Like it's not like one game they've been bad against the run. They've been terrible on defense all season. If
Right.
they continue to play that way and our run game continues to play like it did last week, we definitely have an opportunity to win this game. Again, I'm not trying to oversell it because, again, it is LSU, and we have somehow found ways. We literally like go peeking around the corner, like, is that a way we can lose? Because I didn't see that earlier. Oh, there it is. There's the way to lose right there. Yeah, give up a punt return for a
Snatching the feet from the
touchdown.
jaws of victory.
Yeah, let's go over here and not score at all the second half. Let's see how long we can hold the lead. Not continue like we just look for ways to lose games against LSU.
Yeah.
You know, so it's literally all bets are off when you just another team just seems to have your number. And for some reason, Ed Ogeron has our number, man. Like,
yeah, they cleaned up the penalties. They cleaned up the penalties a little bit last week, which was a little encouraging. I mean, we only had 3 penalties for 35 yards last week, which is an improvement over
so the level of discipline we saw from week to week from this team, like we were way more disciplined in this last game against Ole Miss than we were the week before.
Right.
And that is definitely a positive trend, but for it to be a trend, it's got to happen more than 1 week. So if we see another week of discipline, we've got opportunities to be able to be in this game. But again, I think it comes down to ball control, get it out of Nick's hands quick, needs to be a factor in the run game.
And no turnovers.
And Bo has to do a good job of knowing when to pull and when to give the ball away. Because oftentimes he makes the bad read, and now we're behind the chains.
Right.
And now LSU's pass rush comes into play.
Part of that is that what Gus does with the offense, and we know this because we've all been frustrated watching the first few series of an Auburn game and going, the same play, this play again. Gus is usually scripted, but he's also diagnosing the defense.
Right.
What are you going to do?
Trying to see how they're going to play against certain things.
Right. So some of that is, I know I'm not going to get but 1 yard, 2 yards for this. I want to see who made this play. I want to see where you came from to cover the sweep. So what were you in? All right, Bo, did you see who ran with Schwartz on the sweep? Okay, good. Give it to Schwartz no matter what. Just because I need to see how they play this. Okay, good. Now we know what to call for the next series. So some of that is diagnostic, and it's not necessarily I'm trying to score. I mean, he wouldn't mind if it scored, but a good bit of it is, what are you going to do against me? And for that reason, I want to give Bo the benefit of the doubt, because maybe Gus said, no matter what, you're handing this off. I don't care. Give it to him, because we need them to get used to the idea that it's just going to be tank killing them, so that in the third quarter, when we need this touchdown, because it's only 1 possession game, you're going to run, and they didn't really believe that you were going to run anyway. At this point, we know Bo will run because he's athletic, and he's been keeping a lot more this year, which he should run, but you don't want the defense, the discipline, the habit of he's going to give. That wears into a defender over the course of the game. So then when you just take, and you weren't, that's how Stidham got a couple of touchdown runs. I distinctly remember one against Bama in that game in 2017. You didn't believe Stidham was going to run because he gave. Carry on was a threat. Right now, if you just give, Tank is a threat, it's going to get easier for Bo to make those touchdown runs or those 10, 12-yard scampers. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I thought he read it wrong too a couple of times, but
no, he definitely
about
did.
It later.
Yeah, 100% did read it wrong.
Maybe he was told,
right?
No, Gus keeps a heavy hand on them boys. Like,
listen, at some point in time, you gotta be a football player though. Like, this guy is definitely sticking with the back, like 100%. That is not that's not your opportunity to be like, but coach told me. No, sir. We want to stay on the field on this drive. He's definitely about to get killed. Do not give him the football.
Right.
Some point in time, you got to be a football player.
But I also know,
come on, coach's kid.
Be a football player, man. Anyway, but yeah, so all right, so listen, again, I'm picking LSU. Caesar, you are picking who? I'm picking Auburn to beat LSU. Who are you picking, Caesar?
I'm against my heart. I'm going LSU here.
Okay. B. Will, who you got?
Are you picking LSU?
Yeah.
I am. Listen, can I just say I am so proud of you, right? Like, I thought I was going to be the only one this season that actually picked with their head and not their heart. Like I'm really
I-
that.
I-
You let
I
me
got-
off the hook too. You let me off
I
the hook.
got one in me coming. Don't worry. It's just I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
I know you hate LSU, so you're
I
not going to let it be
despise LSU.
this.
I
Yeah.
absolutely despise
I know it's not
LSU.
going to be this one.
There's literally no way I would like. There are teams that I can.
All right, don't let it be
guarantee
Bama to be the game that you go with your head. Like, come on.
Right.
There are teams I will never pick Auburn to lose against. LSU is one of them. Just
Even though we've only beat them like 5 times since 2003.
we're
Right. Right. Okay.
at some
Cool.
point in time.
Got
Because
it.
listen, we hadn't freaking South Carolina hadn't lost to us since the dawn of the freaking century.
Hey, let's
And
break
they
the record.
freaking won the game. So at some point in time, you got to break the streak. So
Okay.
listen, this gonna be the year.
In my philosophy here is yes, we'll be pissed at Gus if he loses, but if we win, I'm not mad at being wrong. So
Okay. Right. Fair enough.
All right. So who you got, B. Will?
I got Auburn, man. If not now, when the game is inconsequential because both of us are bad, because that's the type of game. It's just the type of game that Gus will win to say, oh, but he beat LSU this year. We never beat LSU. We got to keep him. That's progress. And some bullshit like that. So he's going to win that game just to get the monkey off his back. Right?
We PG-13 though.
I'm sorry.
Nah, man. Say what you need to, bro. It's all
He's
good.
going to win this game to get the monkey off his back and start to quiet the calm because that's what Gus does. We've seen this before. Just enough winning to get to keep his job. This will be the win that keeps his job,
He
even though it
can't. So
shouldn't be.
here's the thing: Gus can't lose more than 4 in the season because then the hot seat becomes like ridiculously. Like he's gotta like win 4 games to make sure it seems like he was competitive the whole season. So he can't take the L this early because we still got Bama and Texas A&M on the schedule. So it's like, he loses those 2 games and this one. He's done. He's done. So he knows like he's really coaching for his job this week.
Not really, because good thing for Gus is that Texas A&M is a fraud. So he's
still-
gonna win that game.
We still got Tennessee. Tennessee has looked good this year.
Have they? What was their last game?
They looked a little shaky.
Yeah, they
got throttled.
they got curb stomped.
They got cursed on by Kentucky and by Bama.
Yeah.
Tennessee
But
is
see,
who we
Bama
thought
don't
they
count.
were.
Bama's supposed to beat the Stompers.
Okay, so Tennessee is who we thought they were, which means they are beatable. All right.
For sure.
A&M is
Listen,
beatable.
there is literally no one on our schedule left who is not beatable. The problem is, so are we.
I mean, we are. Okay.
I don't know how big.
Bama don't look beatable. Bama don't look
I'm
beatable.
I'm not counting
Not for
Bama.
us. No,
Screw them.
Bama's
I don't
not
care
beatable
about
for
it.
us.
I'm not talking about Bama until we get to, unless we analyzing
You're right,
Bama's
you're right.
game,
Okay.
or we gonna be
So
playing them.
I'm
Screw
saying
them.
Auburn.
I'm not talking
Okay.
about them.
Okay.
I'm picking Auburn not because I believe in Bo Nix. We know he has to play a good game. I don't trust him. All right, that's probably not
I
gonna
hope
happen.
Bo Nix never watches this show, bro.
Okay,
Like,
man. Anyway, listen.
Get better.
I would love to invite Bo on so he can explain to
Oh
us
my
what happened at
God.
the end of the halves against South. I would just love to hear what was going through his mind.
Gus, this is the job keeper game. All right.
Yeah.
This is the job keeper.
I
That's
agree.
all it is. We're gonna beat Mississippi State, and that'll be 5 wins. And then we will probably lose to Bama, toss up to Tennessee, and toss up to A&M. All right.
Right.
So this is the job keeper game. And that's why I'm picking Auburn to win.
Who you got?
So I will preface my pick with saying that if Brennan was playing, I'd definitely be picking LSU in this one. Yeah, TJ Finley went 17 for 21 and 265 last week, which is not terrible. By Bo Nix standards, that would be a great game, actually. So, a high completion percentage, a decent, just under 300 yards. Like, if he can produce that same sort of performance this week against us, they've got a better than good shot to win this game. Caesar left me off the hook this week by picking LSU. I'm gonna go with Auburn.
Claim it, man.
Close. Because that's the only way we know how to beat them is close.
Yeah.
Like we don't.
That's the only way we know how to win it all this season.
Yeah. We never run them out of the stadium. Like, they just,
2014.
it's always, a close game. And with the freshman QB, if they win this game and he plays well, I think they might have a quarterback controversy.
Oh, for sure.
Moving forward. I wish we had a quarterback controversy.
We do. It's just Gus won't acknowledge it.
Our quarterback is controversial, but we don't have a quarterback controversy.
Right. But I'm going to stick by my point. If we are going to give up 42 points to LSU, which is their season average right now, we're going to lose this game.
Oh yeah,
right,
for sure.
I don't think we can produce enough offense, and the only caveat will be that the defense scores somehow. Right. Like, so if we can hold them in the low 30s, I think we can win. I just really hope that we don't make their defense look better than they actually are, which is what we've been doing all season. I'm really on the verge of switching my pick right now because I have not a whole lot of confidence in what we're doing offensively outside of Tank Bigsby. Screw it. I'm coming over with you, Caesar. LSU by 3. LSU by 3. Like, I can't. I mean, this is indicative of my feeling of the state of our program right now. Right, like it's a home game. We should win. Like, all the factors set up. We had a strong run game that's been building week to week, and coaching will be the difference in this game. And we know how we feel about the coaching. So LSU by 3. I hope I'm wrong. Glad to be wrong.
All right, there it is. So we got our picks in for this week. You guys make sure you hit us up and let us know what you think. I saw a couple of people posting some picks down there in the comments. As always, make sure you're liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel. We're going to be right back here with you on game day. So that's pregame, halftime, and postgame, giving you all of our thoughts about how the game is going to go. We are on Instagram and Twitter as the War Rapport. We're going to try to start live tweeting a lot more in the games coming up these weeks. So be checking us out on Twitter. And we'll also be having our player of the game post going up on Instagram. So make sure you check that out. So make sure you are following us there. TikTok, we'll be having our college top 10 live that'll be going up weekly, starting on TikTok, and some other content that will be dropping over there. So follow us if you are on TikTok. That's all we got for you right now. Holla at you on Saturday. Until then, War Eagle.